Hello, it's Tuesday. It's 12:30 p.m. and that means it's time for another episode of First Chapter Fun. Before I do all the introductions, hello Hank, I see I'm live on Instagram, which is great. Now I just need to make sure that I'm live on Facebook, so excuse me for 2 seconds while I fiddle around with the settings because I can't see the comments on Facebook, but I know I'm live. I can see I'm live, and so here we go. Oh, but you don't want to hear me on the playback on Facebook. So annoying. Okay, so on Facebook I see the comments on a different tab, but I see them, and I see that I'm live on Instagram as well. So good afternoon. It's so lovely to see so many of you already. My name is Hannah Mary McKinnon, and I'm an author of psychological thrillers. And along with my partner in fictional crime, Hank Philippi Ryan, powerhouse author, in case you don't know her yet, you really need to, we read twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. on First Chapter Fun, on Instagram, on my phone at First Chapter Fun, and on Facebook, in the Facebook group at First Chapter Fun. You can find us on both. So we are right now broadcasting on 2 platforms because that's how we roll. And sometimes technology tries to kill us, but so far it has failed. Ha! And here we are, like clockwork, every Tuesday and Thursday. The days with a T with Hannah and Hank for First Chapter Fun. So welcome everyone. If this is the first time you're catching an episode, well, this is episode number 136. First Chapter Fun started back in March last year, just when COVID hit Canada, and has been going strong ever since, twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday since May. So if you've missed any all of the episodes up until today's episode, number 136. They are all saved in our IGTV, and they are all saved in our Facebook group under media, videos, and you'll find them all there. What you'll also see during the week, Hank and I post fun facts about the books every Monday. We read on Tuesdays. There are promotional videos for the upcoming reads on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Thursday we read, and on Friday we post different posts. We ask you what you're reading. Hank asked a question last week about any typical clothes from a book you would like to wear, and we also post fun facts about the authors, which are did I say that already? I don't think so. And those are always really fun. So Saturdays we also post fun 5 facts videos that the authors make. So there's always stuff going on. So make sure you drop by both on Instagram and on Facebook at First Chapter Fun. You'll never ever be in search for books to read ever again. And we read all kinds of books. It's not just thrillers, which both Hank and I write. We also have rom-coms, we have historical fiction, we have sci-fi here and there, we have just general fiction too. So whatever you're in search of, come to First Chapter Fun. You'll never ever ever get through all the books that we have for you to read, because we're just going to keep introducing you to more and more. So that's our aim, to keep your to-be-read list completely out of control. So welcome everyone. I see tons of people have already joined on Facebook. This is amazing. I see Hank, of course, my wonderful friend. I see Carla and Lynn and Tracy Clark, for whom we read a few months ago now. I'll have to figure out when the next one is, Tracy. We have Grace and Deborah, and we have Bono. We have so many people, and I absolutely love the comments that you leave, because I try and read through them, or scroll through them a little bit. So Lynn, for example, she says on Facebook, "Tomorrow is my birthday. Happy birthday. Is Hannah going to sing to me?" No, I love you loads, Lynn, but I am not going to sing, because no one wants to hear that. Everyone will leave the group and you'll all run away screaming, and I'm not going to do that to you. Shannon says her birthday was Friday, so happy belated birthday, Shannon. I hope you had a lovely day and a great weekend. And on Instagram I see Jess Montgomery. We have Jess's book The Stills coming up at the end of March, so if you're into historical mysteries, you best make sure you tune in to that as well. We have Jen Jumbo, one of our favourite librarians, and I just see we have Chris Mooney, none other than Chris Mooney, and that's a great thing that I see Chris, because it's his book, or from his book, that we are going to read today, Blood World. Now, you might think you know what this is about, but let me tell you, this is one of the most exciting premises I've seen. It's so cool. And I'm going to tell you more in a minute once I've said welcome to everyone. So hello, Chris. Chris is here. Please make sure you leave him a question. Ask him something about writing. Ask him something about his books. I'll introduce you to him, and then I'll introduce you to the book, and then I'll read the first chapter. But you can chat amongst yourselves as well. You can leave a question on Instagram. The comments do disappear when we move the video from Instagram to, from live to IGTV. Don't know why, they just do. It's just an Instagram thing. But on Facebook, the comments stay. So hopefully Chris will be able to come back and answer any questions that you have about his novels, about his writing process, about Blood World, about anything else he's written, anything you're dying to know. Now is your chance to ask the question, both on Instagram and on Facebook. So don't be shy, because authors love to interact with their readers, with their audience. It's one of the most fun things about being an author. We get to chat about books with people who've read them, which is always so cool. So let me show you the cover again while I tell you that Chris has very generously agreed to a giveaway. That's right, there are not one but 2 copies of Blood World up for grabs, one on Instagram and one on Facebook. And all you need to do during the live reading is leave a comment on one or the other platform, or both, not affiliated with Facebook or Instagram. I've just got to put that in there. But you can win, or you'll be in for a chance to win, a copy of Blood World. All you need to do during the live reading, so now, right now, and normally I say not right now, but right now, is leave a comment on Facebook and or Instagram, and you could be the lucky winner of a copy of Blood World. So let me introduce you to Chris. I'm going to put my trusty cheap Joe Fresh reading glasses on for this because I'm blind. And let me introduce you to Chris Mooney. Hailed as one of the best thriller writers working today by none other than Lee Child, and a wonderful writer by Michael Connelly, Chris Mooney is the international best-selling author of 12 novels, most recently The Snow Girls. His 4th book, The Missing, the first in the Darby McCormick series, was a main selection of the International Book of the Month Club, and an instant bestseller in over 13 countries. The Mystery Writers Association nominated Chris's 3rd book, Remembering Sarah, for an Edgar Award for Best Novel. Foreign rights to his novels have been sold to 28 territories. He has sold nearly 2 million copies of his books. How successful is that? Exceedingly. Congratulations, Chris. Chris teaches writing courses at Harvard and the Harvard Extension School, and lives in the Boston area with his wife and son. And his new novel, Blood World, from which I will be reading shortly, published in August last year. So you will be able to get your hands on it right now. Well, not right now, as I always say, but once I've done the reading. And you can connect with Chris, please do. Like I said, we love when readers connect with us. You will find him on Facebook and Instagram as Chris Mooney Books, Mooney with double O, like money, but with 2 O's. And on Twitter, he is C Mooney Books, and his author website is chrismooneybooks.com. Easy to find, easy to connect with, so please do, because it's always such a treat to hear from readers. And as always, we can only do these readings with the agreement of the authors, so thank you very much, Chris, for letting us read for you today, and also from the publisher. In this case, it's Penguin Random House. So Hank and I are very, very grateful to the authors and to the publishers for letting us read, And to all of you, to all of the viewers who show up, who watch this either live or later on. We are so, I know we say this a lot, but we really are. We are really so pleased and so thrilled to be building this community and sharing books with you. And we have reads booked to the end of the year, because First Chapter Fun has just taken off and people are enjoying it. So help us spread the word. If you enjoy, if this is your first or your 136th episode, if you've watched them all, please help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell your pets, if they read, about First Chapter Fun, because the more the merrier. It's so much fun here, and we're thrilled that you are sharing this journey with us. And I'm so glad, actually, that Hank, my dear friend, twisted my arm a bit, because originally I wasn't going to continue with First Chapter Fun back in May. I scheduled 50 reads and that was it, because I had books to write. You know, my publishers wanted me to write stuff. But she said, come on, let's keep going. What if I team up with you and we read twice a week? And here we are. And I'm so thankful to you, Hank. You know I love you tons. So this is the book that I will be reading from. Blood World by Chris Mooney. Great cover, great title, brilliant premise. So let me introduce you to that. This is Blood World, the back cover copy. Everything changed when scientists discovered the drug. It looked like the cure for aging, but all progress comes with a price tag. Now eternal youthfulness will be paid for by the blood of the innocent. The blood of carriers is the most valuable commodity on earth. When treated with a new wonder drug, it cures disease, increases power, and makes the recipient a virtual superhuman. It also makes the carriers targets. Young people with the right genes are ripped from their families and stashed in blood farms. Ellie Batista became an LAPD officer specifically to fight this evil as a member of the Blood Squad, but her ambitions are thwarted until the day she and her partner are ambushed during a routine stop. The resulting events plunge her into an undercover world more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. Because a madman has found a way to increase the potency of the blood to levels previously unimagined. As he cuts a bloody swath through the already deadly world of blood cartels, Ellie is the only hope to stop him before the body count explodes. So that is Blood World. Don't worry, I'm going to read you the first chapter, but the book is available now. Isn't that incredible? What a cool premise. It's a thriller, but it's also a bit sci-fi, but not, because it's so relatable. It's just fascinating. How did you come up with this idea, Chris? That's what I want to know. Please tell us, because it really is brilliant. And you might have seen the fun fact that Hank posted yesterday. We always ask the authors to send us a fun fact about themselves and a fun fact about their books. And the one that Chris sent to us about the book, I thought I'd read it to you because it's so funny. He says, "This is the first time I've ever had to write sex scenes, and that was much tougher than I thought, and my wife laughed at several early attempts." I know the feeling, Chris. The first time my husband read one of my first sex scenes, and they're pretty tame and tasteful. He said, "I can't do it. I can't read it." So what I did was, in my next book, I made sure that the protagonist was very sporty, a runner, really slim and blonde, and nothing like me at all. And he read that, so that was odd. But anyway, let me show you the cover again before I jump right in. This is Blood World by Chris Mooney. So sit back, relax, and let me entertain you. This is chapter 1. When Ellie Batista turned the patrol car onto Montclair, a quiet street in Los Angeles' Brentwood neighborhood, she spotted a big Secret Service-looking dude in slick mirrored sunglasses and a black suit ushering a boy dressed up in prep school clothing to a Chevy Suburban, with tinted windows parked at the top of the driveway of a spacious, contemporary ranch house. The guy holding open the SUV's back door was bigger and taller than his partner, but the thing Ellie noticed right away was how both men were looking around like a sniper was lurking somewhere nearby, in this neighbourhood where the greatest danger was living next to someone who hadn't paid their parking tickets. Ellie was close enough now to see the anxiety on the kid's face. She hit the lights, but not the siren. Her partner looked up from his smartphone, saw her shooting up the driveway, and rolled his eyes. "No," Danny said. "No, we are not doing this again." "Relax, Pops, I'll take care of everything." Ellie parked at an angle so the SUV couldn't escape, at least down the driveway. She couldn't see the driver. The SUV's windows were tinted, almost black, but if there was someone behind the wheel, he might decide to make a break for it and tear across the lawn. Danny sighed as he unsnapped the holster of his sidearm. "You're doing all the paperwork, and you're picking up lunch." "Where?" "Jimmy J's taco truck." "The place where you got food poisoning?" I think it was a stomach bug." "Still," she said. "That's the deal. What's it going to be?" "Your funeral," she said, opening the door. At 5'8", Ellie was tall for a woman. The guy holding open the SUV's back door stood 6'6" and weighed probably close to 3 bills. He looked, Ellie thought, like vanilla pudding poured into a cheap suit. He had a tiny pug nose and small hands for a man so large, but there was no doubt in her mind that he could swat her away like a fly. The driver had rolled down the windows. He knew the drill, and he rested his hands on top of the steering wheel. "IDs and permits," Ellie said. Vanilla Pudding sighed. "We've been stopped 3 times by you people just this past week alone. You're seriously screwing with our, productivity." Ellie looked to the driver. "Sir, please cut the engine and step outside." Then to the group, "Put your hands on top of the car roof so I can see them." As Danny frisked them, taking their licenses, gun permits and handguns, Ellie studied the boy from behind her sunglasses. He looked to be 11, maybe even as old as 13, and had a sweaty pie-shaped face and stringy blonde hair, and there were dark circles under his eyes. He kept swallowing nervously as his eyes skittered across the ground in front of him, as if it contained hidden landmines. Carrier, Ellie thought. Had to be, given all the security. If this kid had the gene, he was worth big money. The rule of thumb in the blood world was the younger the carrier, the more potent their blood, the more he or she was worth. Blood didn't discriminate. Boy or girl, black or white, mentally challenged or potential Mensa candidate. A single child could be worth several $1 million over the course of his or her life, unless the kid was drained and dumped, the blood sold for quick cash. That seemed to be the norm these days, at least here in California, with everyone looking to make a quick buck. "What's your name?" Ellie asked the boy. "Christopher." "Christopher what?" "Christopher Palmer." "Nice to meet you. Do you know these men?" The boy nodded. He wore dark grey pants with loafers and a navy blue suit jacket with a school crest on the lapel, over a white shirt with a red tie. Prep school kid. Lots of money. "I need to hear you say it," she said. "I know them. Are you in danger?" "From what?" "From anything. Are you a carrier?" Vanilla Pudding, standing with his hands splayed on top of the SUV's roof, turned his head and spoke over his shoulder. "Don't answer that, Christopher." Then to Ellie, "Look, kid's already late for school, and we've got to get him there before noon. He's got a big test today he can't miss." "I'm not through with my questions." "All due respect, officer, what you're doing, LAPD, it's harassment." "So, if I'm hearing you correctly, sir, you don't want to cooperate?" "How about you take our licenses and gun permits, our weapons, do the background checks, whatever, while you follow us to his school. We drop him off, and then we can play question and answer for as long as you want. I'll give you the numbers for his parents too. You can call them along the way. Make sure everything's copacetic. Give me the numbers. The parents' names were Cynthia and Francis Palmer. After she wrote down the numbers, she showed them to the boy. Are these your parents' phone numbers? Yes, he replied. Can I sit in the car, please? It's really hot out. Ellie opened the back door for him. Then she looked at Vanilla Pudding and said, Lead the way. Danny took over driving duty so she could work the laptop installed in the car. As she checked the licenses and permits, she thought about the steroid-laced goons playing rent-a-cop and wondered if someone, maybe even a group of people, was watching the boy right now, shadowing his movements and working on a plan to abduct him. She doubted anything would happen on the way to school, but something might go down at the school. Last month, a group of masked men armed with assault rifles stormed their way into a fancy private high school in Van Nuys to abduct a pair of teenagers who carried the blood gene. The gunmen were killed, along with 2 students and 6 school employees. There was a lot of talk in the state about teachers arming themselves. The bodyguards checked out. Their gun permits all checked out. Ellie called the number Vanilla Pudding, whose name was Trevor Daly, had given her. She'd got the boy's mother on the phone, but the woman refused to answer any questions until Ellie gave her own personal information. Ellie didn't blame her. Families of carriers had to worry about people posing as police and federal agents. You couldn't trust anyone these days. Anyone. When the boy's mother called back 15 minutes later, she seemed more relaxed. Ellie asked the woman a series of personal questions, comparing her answers with the information listed on the computer screen. Everything seemed to be in order. St. Devon's Academy looked more like a maximum security prison facility than a private school. Its sleek, modern buildings sat behind tall concrete walls that had barbed wire installed along the tops. Almost all the schools these days had fences or walls, but this was the first one she'd seen that had its own guard tower. Seeing a guy armed with a high-powered rifle and a scope looming above a bunch of little kids kicking around a soccer ball or just hanging out, acting like all this was all normal, it made her heart sink. When it came to carriers, the police were subject to the same checks as ordinary citizens. Ellie and Danny had to wait several minutes while 2 men armed with assault rifles checked and rechecked their IDs. Forms were signed, fingerprints scanned, and after the gate was unlocked, Danny pulled up against the curb of what appeared to be the main building. Another pair of armed men guarded the door. Others were stationed at various checkpoints and roamed the perimeter and parking lot. Vanilla Pudding pulled up behind them. Ellie got out and again asked if the boy felt safe. He assured her that he did, and off he went to the front door to submit his hand to the portable fingerprint scanner one of the guards was holding. "You happy with your job?" Vanilla Pudding asked. "Is anyone?" Vanilla Pudding smiled. He had tiny baby teeth. "Reason I'm asking is, my company has a lot of clients who are young girls. They'd feel more comfortable in the presence of a woman." He reached into his coat and came back with a business card. "If you want to make some real money with real health benefits, call me." Ellie thanked him, handed him back his documentation and weapons and headed back to the patrol car. "Your stop and frisk routine back at the house," Danny said as they drove away. "You mind telling me what that was about?" Ellie shrugged. "We saw something, so we stopped." "We?" "The kid looked scared shitless, so I decided to check it out." Danny's gaze cut to her. He wanted, she knew, to call bullshit. And he'd have been right, of course. Ellie had been a patrol woman for a little over a year, but her real goal, her future, lay in the LAPD's newly formed Blood Crimes Unit. Admittance was extremely competitive, only the best and brightest. She considered herself reasonably intelligent, knew she was a hard worker, and for the most part had good people skills. What she had going against her was a lack of investigative experience, and BCU looked for 2 years minimum, even for a lowly data analyst position. The way she figured it, the more information she could collect on the blood world during her stop and frisk routines, as Danny called them, the more knowledge she would accumulate and the more attractive she'd look when she reapplied to the BCU. There was another, more personal reason she didn't want to get into with Danny. Not with anyone. Ellie was about to change the subject when Danny, thankfully, did it for her.
You ever wonder what it's like?
He asked. Being a carrier?
Getting an infusion.
Ellie shrugged. Don't really see the point.
You say that because you're young and good looking. How old are you again, 24?
26, which is a whole 2 decades younger than you, Gramps.
Yeah, wait until you hit middle age. Your body starts changing without your permission. Everything begins to wrinkle and sag and everything hurts. It's depressing as hell.
Danny sighed.
You do know this is one massive government conspiracy, right?
Ellie drew a slow, deep breath through her nose as she shifted in her seat.
No,
he said.
No, don't give me that look. I'm not some conspiracy nut. Carrier blood is a real thing. It's a fact. It's got that circulating protein there, that enzyme called ENAMPT, ENAMPT, that makes cells produce these unbelievable amounts of energy, which is why carriers look like they don't age, why they seem to be able to fight off disease. I mean, that's a legitimate medical thing, right?
Ellie sighed. Yes.
Okay. And we also know a full body transfusion of carrier blood alone doesn't erase wrinkles and increase muscle tone and all that other wonderful stuff, which is why, back in the day, scientists and biohackers started experimenting with carrier blood mixed with other medications. They found one that worked, that chemo pill that's now off the market because it's supposedly carcinogenic, something.
Viramab. Danny snapped his fingers.
That's the one. So all these mega wealthy 1%er types start flocking to these holistic centres that are springing up like warts all over the east and west coasts, and they're paying mucho dinero to get these carrier transfusions mixed with Viramab. And voila, the shit actually works.
Everything Danny had said so far was 100% true. Now here comes the crazy curveball.
This goes on for about a year,
Danny said.
And then suddenly the government shuts everything down because people getting these transfusions allegedly die from them.
Allegedly? Ellie chuckled, saw that he was dead serious. Danny, people actually died. They were on the front pages of major news sites. Their immune systems eventually broke down.
That's what the government wants you to believe.
You're saying that all those well-known actors and actresses and titans of industry and rich folks from all over the world who died from these blood transfusions were targeted by the CIA or some such bullshit? Please tell me you don't believe that.
I'm talking about the Illuminati.
Okay, we're done here.
You read the article last week in the Times, the one about Senator Baker from Ohio. Guy was showing early signs of dementia, right? People were urging him to retire. Now the dementia's gone.
According to an anonymous source, Ellie said. There's no direct proof.
Oh, please. Pull up the side-by-side pictures. There's no doubt he's using carrier blood. And that's my point. Wealthy people, people in power. You know they're getting carrier blood from someone who has perfected the recipe. Could be an underground supplier. Could be Big Pharma. Who knows? Point I'm trying to make here is that the law and rules of society only apply to common folk like you and me, the wealthy and the elite. These are the people who can get their hands on the stuff. These are the people who'll continue to live and reproduce, and in time they'll create a new world order.
Danny had a point. Not about the whole new world order bullshit, but the fact that the privileged and the elite had access to things that regular people didn't. She wasn't naive about the way life worked, especially when it came to crime. The one person with the best political connections and the best lawyer, sadly, had the chips stacked in their favour. But when it came to carrier blood and whatever chemical cocktail worked, if there actually was one, so much was still unknown because the whole process had all been driven underground and made illegal. Younger carriers had blood that was fresher and, it was believed, more powerful and longer lasting, which was why kids were being abducted in record numbers, not only in California, but across the country, imprisoned and forced to live out their lives like golden geese. At least, that was the operating theory. No one had ever found or seen one of these mythical blood farms, as they had been dubbed by the media, so no one knew for sure if they existed. The blood world in LA consisted of two main factions. Armenian Power X was a cartel that, on the surface, seemed more organised than the second faction, the Mexicans, who seemed to favour draining and dumping carriers.
"The blood I'd want to try," Danny said, "is Pandora."
Yeah, you and everyone else, Ellie thought.
Bye-bye wrinkles and belly, hello smoother and tighter skin, thicker hair, more muscle tone, and less body fat. But wait, there's more. Order now and we'll throw in, free of charge, the most intense orgasms you'll ever experience in your entire life.
If Pandora actually exists, Ellie said.
Blood Unit believes it does.
But there's no proof. No sample has ever been found. And no one has ever been caught using it. For all we know, we could be chasing a unicorn.
There you go with "we" again.
Danny rolled his head to her and cracked a grin.
That's what all this stop and frisk shit is about, isn't it? You're doing a little R&D, hoping to find something big, so you can try to secure a spot on that unit.
Ellie smiled. Look at you, playing detective. How cute.
It'll never happen.
You becoming a detective?
You working on the blood unit.
Ellie's throat clenched. That's a real shitty thing to say.
I'm just giving you the lay of the land. It's not about how good or talented you are. It's about who you know and who you blow. You don't strike me as the type who...
Danny, look out! The patrol car's forward collision warning system sounded. The vehicle automatically decelerated. Ellie's attention locked on a black Labrador retriever that had darted into the road and, instead of running away, stopped and looked at them, its tail wagging. Danny swerved to the right. The lab didn't move, and Ellie let out a small cry when she heard and felt the front left corner of the fender hit the dog, the yelp it let out freezing her heart. Ellie was already out of the car before it came to a stop. She got down on one knee beside the dog, and Danny remained behind the wheel, blinking in shock, Ellie knowing he was thinking about his Bernese mountain dog, Mickey. The dog had been the most loving thing during the final months of his marriage, his anchor, he had admitted to her more than once. Danny! He threw open the door, his gut brushing against the steering wheel as he got out. The dog lay on its side, shaking and panting, its eyes closed against the bright sun. Danny looked like he was going to pass out. Didn't break any bones as far as I can tell, and I don't see any cuts, Ellie told him. The lab flapped its tail in agreement, then stopped when Ellie started rubbing its soft pink belly. Probably just whacked Sasha here with the fender. Danny let loose the caged breath he'd been holding.
Sasha?
Dog's name according to the tag on his collar. The dog had several tags. Ellie was focused on the one shaped like a red fire hydrant. Sasha was etched on the front, along with a phone number and an address right here in Brentwood. Ellie held the tag along its side. Take a look at this, she said, and flipped the tag over so Danny could see the words someone had written in black marker beneath a bloody fingerprint. Help us. And that was the first chapter, my iPad's gone to sleep, of Blood World by Chris Mooney. What do you think of that? What a cool premise. That was such a treat to read. And I love the banter between the characters as well. between Danny and Ellie. It's so much fun, so cool doing the different voices, always a bit of a guilty pleasure. Let me see the cover. Shannon says, help us. Yes, that is what's written on the dog tag underneath the bloody fingerprint. Help us. Who? Who does the dog belong to? And who are they going to have to help? And what's going to happen? Well, you know the drill. You are just going to have to find out by reading the book. And I certainly encourage you to check it out. Shannon says, chasing a unicorn. Beth says, I want the younger sample. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, none of it comes from the blood of the innocent, thanks very much. No, in that case, no. But otherwise, if it's, I don't know, derived from an apple, then I'm all for it. Yes, please. I see Chris says, yes, always leave the reader hanging so they'll turn the next page. Writer's secret. Isn't that the truth? You always have to think of the last sentence in a chapter of being a mini cliffhanger to make sure that the person says, oh, just read one more chapter. It's 3 a.m, but I'm just going to read one more chapter. We love doing that. Chris says, wait until you see what happens next. It's so cool. The scene my agent said, oh no, you can't write this. That was a funny story. Well, you'll have to tell us that, Chris, because we want to know. Lots and lots of comments on Instagram as well. I see tons of people who have joined. Chris is also on Facebook. I don't think I said that earlier, but leave your comments there. And don't forget, if you're watching this live, to leave a comment for Chris. So that you can be in for a chance to win a copy of Blood World, both on Instagram and on Facebook. So I went a little over our usual half an hour that we try and limit this to, but I wanted to give you the whole first chapter, so forgive me for that. And let me tell you about Thursday's book. We have another thriller. Is that going to show up properly? I think so. The Dead Season by Tessa Weggett. This is what we will be reading from on Thursday, and I can't wait for us to introduce you to this book as well. Look at that creepy cover. You see the mist and the trees. Isn't that cool? Looks brilliant. And this is what we'll read to you on Thursday on First Chapter Fun, as always, at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll show you the cover if my iPad collaborates. Blood World by Chris Mooney. Please go and check this out. Such a great premise, such a brilliant book, fabulous author. And on Thursday, we will read The Dead Season by Tessa Weggett. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Apologies for it being a little longer, but I'm glad you stuck with me, and because I'm sure you enjoyed it just as much as I did. And I hope that we will see you again on Thursday for another episode of First Chapter Fun. Until then, you know the drill. This is what we say. Say it with me. Stay safe, stay kind, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching.